Today, as part of our Business Spotlight program, we're talking to Marco Herbst, and he's the CEO of Evercam. So over to you, Marco. What is it you do, and how long have you been doing it, and how did you get to here, basically?
Yeah, hi, Kevin. Great to be here. So, Evercam, we are a visibility solution for construction sites. And our belief is, like the ancient Egyptians used to say, if you can see what's going on and you're talking to your team, you'll build a better pyramid.
Okay.
Just these days, we have new technologies available. So we'd be working with high resolution 4K cameras, with drones, 360 cameras for internal, and obviously the mobile phone, using AI where it's applicable, and tools like BIM, which is the 3D models that people use for planning construction projects. So bringing all of that together to do what's called reality capture, knowing what's going on the construction site, feeding that back in real time to people who need it. That might be safety related, it might be project management, it might be logistics, and so on. It's often about communications as well between project owner, contractor, subcontractors.
Fantastic, fantastic.
Yeah.
And this is your second business, is it, Marco? You had another successful one before this, yeah?
Yes, it is. Now you could subdivide Evercam into a couple of iterations to get to where we are, but
Okay.
technically are two limited companies. And the first one was Jobs.ie,
Oh, well, yeah.
which is the Irish jobs website, which I started kind of straight out of college with two friends of mine, Vinny and Lee, and Denis O'Brien bought that off us at a certain point.
Fantastic.
And then we call this one our difficult second album. So it's myself and Vinny who had a go at Evercam.
Fantastic, fantastic. Okay, and what do you attribute your growth to?
Bloody mindedness.
Okay.
I think actually, in seriousness, stamina, persistence, and endurance. It's been tough. I mean, we're 14 years into growing Evercam, and it's really only the last 5 years where I could say the company's really found its feet and is now growing the way we'd hoped it would have. That happened at around about the same time that we discovered the construction industry. Like initially, we were working with cameras in a much more general way. We were always interested in cameras as a communications tool, to use them for like non-security purposes. And it was just hard to really find the product market fit. And we found that in the construction industry, and that's brought us now to be a global company. It was clients like Intel here and Leakslip who have brought us to the States, to Malaysia, to Israel, to Germany, their newest projects in Poland. So yes, finding that product market fit, growing with clients who come out of Ireland, and now we're 150 people. We're in like 27 countries.
Wow, fantastic. Yeah, well done. Yeah, and that's the feedback we're getting all the time. Persistence, turning up, being there, going through the ups and downs.
Yeah.
If
there was an easy path, I haven't found it yet.
Again, everybody would be doing it, wouldn't they?
Mm.
Again, and I suppose similar to that, if you had to start from square one in business, what would you do differently?
Yeah, it's funny. I went into this when I think about the decision I made in 2010 to start this one. I think I did have somewhat of a slightly cynical mentality. In my first company, it had been very all-consuming, and I was a real 7-day-a-week person.
God, yeah.
And I was very exhausted when we sold it. And I was very happy to have sold it. And then I took this extended time off, sort of 4 or 5 years of not being productive on purpose. And I thought, well, I'll go back in now, and I've learned my lesson, and I'll kind of limit my commitment, and I'm gonna have this work-life balance mythical thing. And that very quickly slipped through my fingers. And I'm a fully committed person when I get into something like this. And so Evercam has again become all-consuming. I think the difference was, when I started, I thought, well, look, I won't be fully committed, but it's also not particularly my passion. And as the business has evolved and we found these like really interesting technologies and really interesting customers, thankfully, it is now my passion, and I really love the people I work with, and it's fascinating and exciting and all consuming.
Mm.
So knowing that I'm going to be fully committed to whatever it is, it's that old cliche of find something you enjoy.
Yeah.
Because I do enjoy it, and I also we now like actively shape the company and what we do to make it enjoyable.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, no, it's that it's the old story, isn't it? Do what you love, and you never have to work another day in your life, sort
Yeah,
of.
yeah, yeah. I don't know that I maybe quite achieved that nirvana, but we're headed in the right direction.
You're on the way. You're on the way. Fantastic. What are the biggest? I mean, you've mentioned a few there, but apart from those, what are your biggest learnings as being as an employer since you began in business?
I'm very conscious these days of just the that word change and being open to change, the necessity of change, inevitability of it.
Mm-hmm.
Running a 3-person company is just different from the 30-person company, and then everything breaks, and suddenly you're a 100-person company, and all the lovely systems you had in place are all broken. Your relationships with people become very, very strained.
Mm-hmm.
Take in investors, and suddenly you've got a board of directors that is also running the ship, and you have to sort of relate to dealing with them. That's been very interesting. So I think embracing change.
Okay.
I was speaking to a lady recently, and her expression was change is what happens when all the other options are worse. And
I like that.
I've really been feeling that, and I guess just embracing it. Assuming it's what you're asking for, like as in there are different types of companies that somebody can build,
Mm.
and you can build something that's much more stable lifestyle. But we've chosen to try and be the big player in our industry and create this new category, and raise investment and really run at this. And that means that all of our jobs, everybody in the company is constantly changing. And I think that the people at the top end up having to change the most.
Okay. Absolutely. Yeah, I know the business I work with, there are only two requirements. One, they want to grow, and that they're open to change, and that's this huge, huge aspect of it. Fantastic. And we kind of mentioned a little bit, I think, before we got going here, is how do you balance your personal life with the demands of running a business?
I'm not one to preach on that subject.
Okay.
Yes. So, these days, what can I say to that? I mean, I enjoy the bit of travel that comes with it, and we try and limit that. I think we're fortunate that we're basically a remote company. So I'm sitting here looking out over the Irish Sea
Mm-hmm.
with the beach in front of me, and
Fantastic.
I like that. And I think I've learned that in order for me to be useful to the business, I also have to go and take a bit of exercise and have a bit of a social life and do those things. So I think I was able to trick myself that it was a business objective that I have a bit of work-life balance.
Okay.
I realized that rather, you can get burnt out, and then you're no good to anybody.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. I mean, a lot of all of my clients basically are growing, and we've used Jobs.ie in the past as well, because they're hiring and firing all the time. But again, your personal life impacts on the business, and the business impacts on your personal life. And definitely very much a supporter of getting that balance in place. Because just you have to renew all the time.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic. Um, so what qualities do you look for in employees or team members, and how do you foster a positive and productive work environment?
Hmm. Yeah, my business partner Randall probably taught me the most on that, and it's an interviewing criteria for him is would I be excited to have my Monday morning 9 o'clock call with this person?
Okay.
And I've found that a really good guideline. You can have all the job descriptions and KPIs and criteria and experience you like, but the idea that you're looking forward to your first call of the week to be with somebody is a very, very good guide.
Interesting. Yeah.
I'd say that would be a criteria.
Brilliant, brilliant, yeah.
In terms of making a positive work environment, like I say, we're now fully remote. So it again, that's a real challenge.
Mm-hmm.
There are great companies out there. I look often to a company, GitLab. They've got an incredible company handbook, which is all public information out there, where they really talk about this asynchronous communication, so you can use your time a lot more efficiently in terms of just clarity of communications without disrupting the time zone thing. That's really helped. We do the meetups as well. But I don't think we're ever now going to have everybody in the company in one place ever.
Well,
So a lot of your I think that ship has sailed. Just I don't see it happening. But we managed to get little clusters, and I think we still managed to build very genuine relationships and friendships despite the remoteness.
okay.
I consider that one a work in progress. Like I don't know that we've cracked it. It's hard. Clarity, people love that. Professionalism.
Yeah, definitely 100%. Yep, brilliant. And so maybe just to finish up there, Marco, what are common misconceptions about running a business, and how do you address them?
Hmm. I mean, it's something that I would often / always, I'd recommend. I think it can be very rewarding. I have only ever been self-employed. The people who I really admire are the people who do that later in life. When I did it, you're not taking any risk when you're just fresh out of college, and I wouldn't be doing anything particularly useful. I didn't have any money. I didn't have any commitments. There was nothing to lose. So it was very easy for me to do what I did back then. Somebody who is actually giving up a job and is carrying a mortgage and has commitments to family and so on, it's obviously much more scary. But I think the odds are in your favor. Oh, maybe I have an answer for that. And I got it actually from an Enterprise Ireland course. And something that I used to believe, especially I think coming from an Irish small business kind of culture where the entrepreneur was kind of maybe slightly the outsider, slightly the kind of the risk taker, slightly the kind of the oddball in a way, a bit of a chancer maybe trying to on the make. There's all that kind of thing associated. If you're familiar with the Richard Scarry books, where they have the butcher and the baker and the postman and the teacher and the nurse, there are these books and it tells you about all the different characters. There's very rarely the entrepreneur in there. Well, there isn't the entrepreneur in there. And I think something that I have learned is that entrepreneurialism or businessman is a profession like others, and it can be learned in the same way you can learn to be an accountant or learn to be a lawyer, learn to be something else. You can learn to be a good entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
And there are multiple courses out there. And in fact, actually, sorry, who am I speaking to? It's people like Action Coach who do exactly that. They say, look, what are the habits that can help you? What have other people before you learned? And how can that help you? And that it sounds so obvious, but it was a light bulb for me to realize that you're not completely on your own. This is actually a skill set. And if you pay attention, then you can do it.
Yeah,
not that I have fully done that, but
yeah. I mean, as I say, fantastic. That's there's a load of learnings in there, Marco, and I really appreciate you taking the time and a busy schedule there with all the things going on, to have a chat to our contacts and database. So listen, great talking to you, and look forward to talking to you in the future. Take care.
Thank you very much. Bye.